Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. You join us in the Porsche Cup, the 992.2, this time at Mount Panorama, also known as Bathurst, for yet another track guide. Now, if you are new to my channel, you may not know, but if you want to race the exact setup being driven by Johnny Lutsu in this track guide, you can go to our website being shown on the screen, sambosetups.com. Any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will be back after the hot lap with a full breakdown, and then we'll be back in the cockpit one final time with the driving line on. But first, the hot lap. Do this breakdown lap. So our first braking marker is going to be on the right hand side. It's going to be just after this 100 board on the right hand side, well, maybe midway between the 100 and the 50. We're going to get on the brakes to about 50-55%, not too heavy, not too late. We're going to trail it off down to third and then back on the gas at the apex. Going to exit nice and wide, and we're going to head up the hill, aiming for the double Ds of Pedders and over to the left hand side. Right, our next braking marker that we're looking for here is just after the 100, and it's this little entrance road on the left-hand side. So we're going midway between that 100 and that little road that you can just see there. Again, on the brakes to about 50%. Going to wipe off some of that speed down to third gear and then picking back up on the gas so that by the time we're actually at the apex, here we are, we're already up at sort of 80%. Going to carry all that momentum up the hill. Going to head over to the right side. Now we're looking for this little bit of arm carry you can just see there on the right with a little, is that a tree next to it or just a post? Anyway, we're going to start our turn in there, and then once we get halfway between that arm carry and the wall on the left hand side, we're going to come off the gas and on the brakes up to about 40%. I'm going to trail that off, we drop it down to second, and then we're going to look to try and get on the gas nice and early, basically when your car's pointing at the last of those ad signs across the way that say tyre power. Slowly back up to 100%, so we make it up to 100%. Once we're almost at the exit, then head over to the left-hand side, give ourselves a bit of room so that we can make it through turn number 7 here with just a little lift, and then make it through the exit flat. Now, as we come into the last of these Etihad signs, or the second to last one here, as we are into sort of turn 9 and 10, this little section, and get on the brakes, barely nothing. So we're basically just doing a lift. These brakes, just making sure that we're getting some weight over those front tyres. We get back on the gas, and then we're going to do the same once we get to the top of this little crest here on the top by these Dick Smith signs. in turn 10. And again, just on the brakes very lightly. And then we're going to pick back up on the gas in 5th. Now, as we come into this little downhill section, basically a couple of car lengths, 3 or 4 car lengths before we get to the coats higher, exactly where we are now, we're going to initially brake to around 25%, try and hold that there until we are through that first sort of little bit of corner, and then we're going to increase it up to about 50%, and now we're just going to try and hold it at around 30%, and trail it off, a little bit of gas maybe, and then as we come into turn 16 here, as we straighten the wheel, on the brakes for final time, and then we're back on the gas. So if you look at the telemetry graph there, we're not braking too hard at any point during that section. Right, as we come up towards turn 18, as soon as we come away from this orange wall on the left-hand side, we're going to get on the brakes, not overly hard, again only up to about 30%. Going to trail that off a little bit and then increase it once we straighten our wheel, once we're through that. And again, we're not braking overly hard, only up to about 40%. Trail it back off, and then we're trying to get on the gas as early as possible in 2nd gear. Now going to go absolutely flat down the hill. This being a road course, a real road. There is the usual crown on it, so we're going to head straight down the middle for most efficiency, then move over to the left-hand side. We're going to go flat as we go through turn 20, and then we're going to get on the brakes relatively easy, or relatively early, sorry, just before the 150, midway between the 150 and the 200. On the brakes to about 60%, going to trail it off all the way down to the apex, back on the gas in 3rd. Just kissing that corner at the apex and on exit. Head over to the right-hand side. Now we're looking for this 100 board again on the right-hand side. As we get alongside it, straight on the brakes to about 55%, down through the gears to 3rd, and then back on the gas at the apex. Carry that speed over the final little stretch, and over across the line we go in a 201.87. We've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on the